No Rest for the Weekend's coverage of the Tribeca Film Festival is sponsored by Black Magic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. blackmagicdesign.com.
Christine, you've arrived at Tribeca. How does this feel?
I love being here. I'm so grateful for our film to have been selected. It's a profound performance from Elizabeth and a conversation starter about really important issues, about medical misadventure, the ethics of the health system, and our accountability and human fallibility.
What was it about the story that made you want to tell it and thought you were the right person to tell it?
Oh, that's a really poignant question because I loved the novel, but it spoke to me particularly because of my own experience of medical misadventure with our cinematographer John Toon, who's also my partner, and he was kind of in a very precarious state for a long time, and we learned about the power of advocacy and kind of the nuanced and fragile state of the health system and how it can fail people.
This is a novel, but this became a personal story for you.
Yeah, I think you have to find your own path into all of these stories to make, to create the passion for the time frame it takes to make them. To write it, to cast it, to direct it, to post-produce it takes such a long time. So you have to have a very deep commitment to the story you want to tell.
What was it about Elizabeth Banks that made you want to cast her as Elizabeth?
I think probably when we spoke, she was deeply committed to the story and the character of Elizabeth Taylor, and I really felt with that commitment and the intelligence she brought to the conversations that she was able to go deeply into that world. So I think that's probably the key thing.
So we're world premiering here today. How do you want to see audiences react? What message do you want to have come across?
I'm not really sure how I want audiences to react because the audience will react in terms of how the story touches them or how it activates a conversation with them and their lives. And I mean, these medical kind of misadventures, and I don't know why there's an adventure in the word, because it's not an adventure. I mean, it's when things go wrong, and they do. Everyone's had some kind of experience with the medical system or the health system, and we've all got stories to tell. And I just found it fascinating. I found it fascinating working with our consultant surgeon and the real surgical nurses, our prosthetics team. It's very real, and I think it's a great thing to talk about.
I'm here with Mickey Sumner. Mickey, you've arrived. You're here at Tribeca with the movie, bringing it in for a landing. How does that feel?
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be back at Tribeca Film Festival. It's been a few years, and I live in New York, so it feels like it's a celebration for me to be here. And with this movie too, and with Christine Jeffs, who I'm a massive fan of, as well as just being her actor.
What attracted you to the project?
Well, Christine Jeffs, who did Sylvia and Rain and Sunshine Cleaning, and I was just always a fan. And then Elizabeth Banks, who is a powerhouse of an actor, producer, businesswoman, who I just adore and sort of want to try and soak up all her confidence and charisma. And then the story, really, it's an amazing story about this moment, this mistake, and how it ripples through a life and many lives, and has sort of these awful repercussions, and then how you sort of navigate that. And I just thought it was a fascinating story.
Tell us about your character.
I play Robin, who is a scrub nurse in the hospital that Elizabeth Banks. Her character is called Elizabeth Taylor in the story, so I feel I'm always Elizabeth and Elizabeth. And I'm her scrub nurse, so I work closely with her in the ER, and then I'm also her lover, a sort of secret lover, who gets sort of caught up a little bit in the mistake and what what that does into their relationship.
This sounds like there's a lot of like intense scenes, pretty dramatic. How are you guys approaching those?
I mean, we had a 3-day surgery scene that we had to learn, like the choreography between the like opening of the body to sewing it back up. So I did a lot of training with a surgeon and a scrub nurse, and so I learned a lot about about surgery and all the instruments and the sewing up and the how to pass the tweezers to the surgeon so they don't drop it in the body. It was fascinating. I loved it.
Are you squeamish?
No, thank God. I wouldn't have survived. There was a lot of fake blood and guts.
This movie sounds like it's very personal to Christine. Everybody has a medical story. Was there anything that made it personal for you?
My son was in the NICU for 3 weeks when he was born, so yes, yeah. I spent a lot of time in the hospital with doctors and nurses and monitors, and this was coming at it from a very different angle. As a parent, you're in a very different place than you are from like the medical staff in a hospital who is just there sort of every day. It was fascinating to go to that side.
Did that give you a facility for those scenes, or did it make it harder because you had that personal barrier?
I just found it interesting because it was when it's your day to day, and surgeries and death, and it's sort of like a part of the job. It's sort of an interesting new spin on my experience, which had been pretty traumatic.
And on a lighter note, what do you want audiences to kind of take home tonight?
Elizabeth Banks' performance is incredible. She's so amazing in this movie, and it's not really a role that anyone's really seen her in. I think really her performance is stellar. And also just Christine Jeffs, her eye and her artistic sensibility is just really special, and I think it's a serious movie, but it's a worthwhile movie.
For you coming out, and you got any projects coming out? I think we have a new season.
Season 4 of Snowpiercer is coming out in July, which has been long. There's been a long wait, so we're very excited. I'm shooting a movie in July, a little indie in New York City. Go New York. And then I just finished shooting an HBO TV show with Mark Ruffalo. So I think that comes out next year.
Can you give us any story points, any hints for Snowpiercer fans?
Absolutely not. No way. Just watch it.
This is the BTRP Media Network.